Hey y'all, what's up? Today for our Black Beauty series, I have another model and we are going to be playing with some color today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Shout out to my girl Cherise for coming through. Make sure you guys check her channel out and her Instagram as well. Alright, so starting off for skin prep, I'm using the Clinique Dramatically Different Hydrating Jelly on Cherise. She has combination skin, so I want to make sure that everything was nice and hydrated in the drier areas but not overly hydrated. And for her T-zone and the cheek areas, I'm going in with the Tarte Poreless Primer. It's just going to help fill in the pores, make sure everything looks nice and smooth. Next, going in with my Stila color correcting palette, I'm just going to go over some of the areas with some orange color corrector just to make sure that when I put the foundation on, everything just has a more cohesive look. You guys know my style of makeup. I'm not into a 100% full coverage, overly beat skin. I like for everything to just look as one, as cohesive as possible, and if you can see a little skin through it, I'm good with that. So after I get the corrector on, I always like to go over with my wedge and make sure everything is nice and blended. Now for foundations, when I'm working on clients, guys, I mix. I was trying out the Tarte foundation on my last model that you guys saw, and honestly, I prefer to just go on back to my cream products and working on my clients. I'm old school just simply because I mix foundations. I always have 2 and sometimes 3 shades that I mix together because I feel like that just gives a more skin cohesive look. I understand for us on our everyday life, you know what I mean, that's not practical, but this is just what I do when working on clients, so please don't feel like you guys have to do this. My favorite foundations to use, especially on my women of color, my Black beauties, black Opal Stick Foundations. Oh my gosh. So the OG makeup artist Sam Fine, when I found out that he was using this on his celebrity clients, I said to myself, okay, if he uses it and says it's good, I'm gonna get it. And black opal just makes the most perfect shades for women of color. If you are having a trouble just finding a shade for you, I highly recommend it. And even though these are stick foundations, they work great on oily skin. The pigmentation is there. Alright, so I have her foundation on. I mixed beautifully bronze in another color. Cherise does have a birthmark at the top of her forehead, so if you see that spot, that's what that is. Next up, I am going in with my favorite concealer of all time. This is the Becca Aqua Luminous Concealer in the shade Dark Golden, and I have been loving using this Real Techniques eye brush. It's a blending brush actually, and I've just been using that for blending out concealer. I love how flawless it makes the concealer look, and it gives the perfect amount of coverage without over blending. Next up, I'm going to take some of that concealer and put that in the center of her forehead because as you guys can see, and this is very, very common, especially when working with women of color, we tend to have different skin tones. So our face might be one color, the neck might be different, and the chest might be look different. So that's another reason why I tend to make sure that I really use just a variation of different skin tones on the complexion. So that way everything just looks cohesive. Now with my Real Techniques setting brush, I am going in with my Kat Von D Lock-It Powder in the shade Golden. Now to bring some dimension to Cherise's face, I'm going in with my black opal foundation stick in the shade Ebony Brown. Again, I am someone who does not believe in having cream contour palettes. If you got foundations, you can use your foundations as contour bronzers to bring dimension back to the face. So I'm just going to go on the side of her cheekbones, top of the forehead, and her nose. Now to blend out contour, this is just my personal preference, especially when working with creams. I love to use a stippling brush. My favorite one is from Real Techniques. I like this because it blends out the cream product flawlessly and it just gives it more of that airbrushed look. It doesn't leave you that harsh line on the side of the face. You guys know what I mean. I just love the way that it blends out the product. Now to set the contour in place, I'm going in with my favorite contour shade. This is the NYX Contour Single in the shade Hollow. If you guys have not tried this, you need to. It is the perfect contour shade. It's not too gray, not too cool tone, but it doesn't pull too red. It is fantastic. I can use this around the nose to chisel out the cheekbones. It just works really, really well. And then to bring a little bit of warmth to the face, now I'm just going to go in with CoverGirl Queen Ebony Bronze Love this bronzer. I swear every black girl knows about this bronzer. It's hard to find. You can purchase it off of Amazon, and I am using a Real Techniques blush brush. You guys saw this in my brush video. That's what I like to use to put on bronzer because I feel like it just kind of distributes the product really, really nicely, and it's not too big, but it's not too small. It's the perfect size. For blush, I'm going in with the Sephora collection blush in the shade Oh My Gosh. This is a beautiful red tone blush. Don't be afraid of it. You guys will see this in tomorrow's blush video, so I don't want to go into too many details about that, but especially since we're doing more of a pop of color look, this just brings so much life, I feel, to the skin. Don't be afraid of it. It looks so good, especially on deeper complexion skin. Beautiful. And this blush is $14. Don't sleep on Sephora collection, guys. They have great stuff. And for a slight glow, going in with my favorite product, the Laura Mercier Translucent Glow Powder in medium to deep. This is so beautiful. You guys know I'm not a fan of highlighter, but just to bring a little bit of a glow within to the face, this is the most perfect product for that. Alright, so did you guys notice I didn't set the face with translucent powder first, and that was just simply because I know Cherise does have combination skin, and I didn't want to risk the chance of dehydrating it and then throwing it into a shock and the oil starts pushing through. So I like to give the foundation just a little bit of time to go ahead and settle in. Go ahead, do the cream contour, put that on with the powder contour, blush and bronzer, and then I'll go ahead and set in the rest of the areas. And then a little bit of Mario Badescu facial spray just to make sure I didn't get too overzealous with the powder, because y'all know I am known for that. And we're going to go ahead and dive straight on into the brows. I am using the ABH Brow Wiz in the shade, I believe is this ebony? It's either ebony or dark brown. I can't remember which shade I'm using. Alright, going in with the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the shade Caffeine, making sure that this is really, really well blended out, nice and smooth, so that way we don't have any skipping on the eyes. We're using the Juvias Place Masquerade Mini Palette today because I feel like that is the perfect palette for color. Going into the crease first, I'm using this burnt orange shade called Ada, and I like this because it is the perfect amount of orange tone, but the perfect amount of brown. Next, for the lid, we're going in with blue. And the reason why I wanted to do blue is because I feel like so many women of color feel like we can't wear blue shadow. And yes, we can. This shade is called Delia. I hope I'm saying it right. And I'm just taking a flat MAC brush 247. I'm going to go ahead and pack that starting first in the center of Cherise's eye. Then I'm going to pull it into the inner corner. Now for the outer V, I'm grabbing my MAC 217. We're going to take that same transition tone that we use, Ada, the burnt orange, and we're just going to go ahead and start working that on the outer B, I can't speak today, on the outer V, just to add some more dimension because I didn't want it to get too dark. I love how nice and warm that tone is. And for the inner tear duct, you know I can't forget that, going in with the shade Dahaya. I hope I'm saying that right. And this is a beautiful champagne tone. I love the way it looks with the blue. So skipping liner today on the waterline, and we're going to use that same blue tone for eyeliner. I'm just going to work that onto the waterline. I love putting a shimmer tone in the waterline just simply because, first of all, the tone of the blue is beautiful, but the shimmer just brings a little bit more reflex and pop to the eye, and then the fact that it's blue, it just really, really makes brown eyes pop a lot. And then taking that same champagne tone, we're going to place a little bit more of that into the inner tear and make sure we blend it out with the blue. Grabbing a pencil brush and that first transition shade that we laid down, we're going to go right underneath the blue and work that in. This is just going to help bring more dimension and keep the warmth to the eye. Okay, for the top lash line, taking Tarte Clay Paint. This is a gel eyeliner, but it is in the shade Navy Blue. You guys can see it on my hand there. Sorry, I did not have the best angle with the camera when putting on the liner, but I am running this as close to the lash line as I possibly can. And Cherise has a great eye shape, so I could make this a little bit thicker if I wanted to. So in the inner tear duct, I want it to be really, really thin, and then as it gradually gets to the end of the eye, I do make it a little bit bigger. And I love this shade again. Next up, going in with some mascara. I believe I was using the Light Camera Lashes mascara. And for lips, I wanted a corally tone. Again, this is a custom mix. I use my ABH palette, so I can't tell you exactly which lipstick this is, but I just think this is a beautiful tone for the skin, for the eyeshadow. Also, again, don't be afraid to play around with pops of color. I know a lot of people aren't comfortable with wearing color on the eyes and on the lips. You can do so. There's not a rule that says that you can't, but just play around with different color combinations to see what you come up with, because it does look good when it is paired correctly. And here is our finished look. Huge shout out to Cherise for coming out to my channel. I appreciate it, you guys. Make sure you go over and follow her. Also, please keep in mind that this is what I do on my clients. You guys do not have to use and implement all these techniques, but of course, if you see something you want to try, definitely give it a try. How I do things on my clients versus how I do things on myself or everyday for work might be a little bit different. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. You know the deal. Keep it simple, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.